Okay, so I have kind of been avoiding this, but I'm just gonna put it all out there. My life is a mess right now, and instead of pretending that it's not, I'm gonna talk about it. So, obviously, this is my first video, so hello, I'm Rachel. I'm 33 years old. I just lost my job. I have no savings, I have no retirement, and I am basically starting over, which is not anything I thought I would say at 33, almost 34 years old. So that's where I'm at, and instead of trying to hide it or wait until everything's perfect, I decided that I'm gonna document what it actually looks like to kind of rebuild your life from scratch, because I just know that I'm probably not the only one dealing with this. So that's kind of what I wanted to start my channel for. Okay, so I guess let's kind of start from the beginning. I moved here 4 years ago thinking that it would be a completely life-changing experience. Yeah, so I mean, I guess in some ways it definitely has been a life-changing experience, just not at all in the ways that I thought it would be. You know, I think I had it in my head that I would move up here and all of a sudden everything would just work out and it would change, and I think I had a very different vision in my head, and it just, again, has not at all been like that. And I just feel like I was and still am in a transition phase of who I was and then who I want to become. So it's just been a lot of that, like, just trying to figure out who I want to be and, you know, the community that I want to be a part of. And I just kind of, I think, had it in my head that I would just move up here and it would just all click and it would be easy and whatever. And it just has not been like that at all. So I was just going to take it back a little bit and just kind of explain some of the things that I've gone through since moving up to this area. So probably the first big thing that happened was on my 30th birthday. I ended up in the hospital with alcohol poisoning. So again, I feel like I came up here thinking things would change, but I was still doing the things that I was doing before. So for me to think that I would come up here and all of a sudden miraculously things would be different, even though I was doing the same things that I was doing back home, like, looking back at it, I'm just like, okay, well, obviously that's not how things work. But still, you know, it's like you get this like vision in your head of like, okay, I'm finally getting out of this small town. It's gonna be incredible. Like, all this is gonna happen. It's all gonna work out. Like, da 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 da. And then something like this happens, and it's like, oh, okay. So that experience kind of started my transition into a healthier lifestyle. I've always been active in the gym. I did sports in high school. So like I said, I've always been kind of active. try to eat, you know, relatively healthy, but that was just the spark of one, me not drinking for an entire year. And then like that was great. I needed that. But also in that time, I just felt very alone and isolated. And it wasn't because like my friends were like, oh, you don't drink, like we don't want to hang out. It was just something that I felt like I couldn't go out and do things without drinking, because that's just what we always did. You know, when we wanted to go have fun, we would go drink. Like that's just what it was. So then when I decided I wasn't going to drink anymore, I just kind of isolated, and I just had a hard time figuring out that I could still go out and do things and not drink. But it took me a long time to realize that. So that was that. And then, so that was like a big thing that happened. But then like, I feel like during that time also, it's like I've just been struggling really hard to find a career that I like and that I want to do long term, and tried to do a complete career pivot that didn't work out, which is fine. You know, I'm a firm believer in you need to put yourself out there and try new things, and if it doesn't work, then hey, that, you know, that's fine. Redirection. But I think that's also been something that I've really had a hard time with, and then ended up going back to a job that just was not very good for my mental health. Just really, yeah, has kind of took a toll on just who I've been trying to become, you know? So I just feel like it's all these things being thrown into just this transition phase, and then getting into credit card debt again. And then I found out, because again, I started this healthier lifestyle, and I did some genetic testing because my mom had breast cancer and she has a gene mutation. So I ended up doing some genetic testing and some blood work and everything. And then it turns out that I do have a gene mutation that makes me more prone to having ovarian cancer. And then again, like I said, I did some blood work, and that showed that I had high cholesterol. And it was just like, and then, so that was that was later 2025 when I was like finding all that out, into early 2026. And then to now losing my job, and again with no savings, no retirement, and I have all of this credit card debt. And I just wanted to create this channel in hopes that it makes even one person feel less alone, because I just know from my experience that it does feel very lonely going through all of this stuff. And it's like, again, my friends are very understanding, but there's just this part of me that's like, you know, I don't want to go and like, oh, this and this, and oh, my life is falling apart, and da da, you know, like, not that they wouldn't be supportive or anything like that, but it's just, I just, you know, there's part of me that also feels a little bit embarrassed of the situation too. So again, that's why I wanted to just kind of show the ugly, the non-highlight reel side of life that I feel like a lot of people are going through, but maybe not a lot of people want to put that out there. And I just feel like, myself included, are just kind of craving some authenticity, because it's like, life is tough, you know. Life is beautiful, it's got beautiful moments, like, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's also very tough at times too. So I just feel like just being a little bit vulnerable and putting my story out there, and maybe will make someone not feel as alone as maybe I have in this journey. So anyways, I hope that this channel ends up just being a little bit of light, even in my life, you know, just to be able to say all this stuff out loud and just kind of get it out in the open, I think is going to be a little bit refreshing as well. So just, if you could, please like, subscribe, leave a comment if there's something specific that you would like me to get more into detail about. And if you're starting over at my age, or, you know, really any age, let's do this together. So, all right, thank you. Have a good day.